Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. And gosh, South Carolina, here we are.
It seems like we've been here a while.
We're in, if you guys can't tell from our surroundings, we're actually hunkered into Sam's underground bomb shelter here.
Just don't look too close.
Don't light a match in here.
Yeah. No, it's not a good idea.
It's enough ammunition
and definitely
in here
don't pick up the wrong building because you're going to have problems.
I love it. I love the man cave. I saw it right after you got it done, and it looks better every time I show up.
It's kind of funny. We didn't talk about that last night. We kind of completely missed where we were at.
We did. And I'm going to need some of those 223 shells if you don't care on my way out of here.
As long as you don't want my 50 BMGs, we're fine.
It's great. So we got the Shed Gal.
Yeah, she's back with us.
Hello.
Back with us today.
Hello.
She never left us.
And we've got Sam Ambassador.
Yep, I'm here again.
We've got this new adventure that I hope you guys are enjoying because at this point, we're running 3 days a week by the time you hear this thing.
Absolutely.
But we've got another guest.
Yeah, we do.
Who is it?
Dallas Woodward.
Dallas Woodward.
Hello, everyone.
And what's exciting is I found out that me and Dallas are neighbors.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
So Dallas is from the Paducah area, Mayfield area. And I'm sitting here in your driveway, and he's like, where are you from? And I'm like, Metropolis. And he's like, well, we're just right over in Paducah. So it's kind of cool. This is what the shed industry does.
I love it.
You just meet people all the time. Dallas, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, man. Like, how do you know the shed industry?
So it's a pretty cool story. My dad started building for Derksen when I was 5 years old, and I knew from then that's what I wanted to do. I got asked, what are you going to do when you grow up? It was build buildings every time. That's the only thing I wanted to do. I started working with him in summer when I was 12. So no, anyways, I started working in the summer when I was 12. Started working after school when I was 13 through the summer, of course. When I was 15 or 16, I can't remember which one it was, I got my GED and went full-time working, building sheds with Derksen.
So what were the sheds like back then?
T111, that was it.
T111.
You built 10 by 16s.
Yeah.
T111. That was
2x4, 2x6 floor joists?
I remember I think it was 2x4.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
imagine.
Yep.
Were notched runners around back then? Yet?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
pretty
so
sure
you had notch
we was using
runners.
notch
But you
runners.
were you using like Z-bar? Were you using like all the cuts on your T111 and doing like the,
No. There was a bay down the other end of the shop that built those, but we was actually building like the lofted inside lofted
Okay.
T111 barn.
I hated when they put 2x4 floor joists on the notched runners because when you go to put your strap in there, you can't get your hand through there. And then some of you guys don't know how to run nail guns. And I should say
Dallas.
that. No, I just said some of you guys. I didn't say him. I'm sure he had good eye vision back then, eyesight, and he could shoot straight lines. But you'd stick your hand up over there to put the strap through, and one of them nails would catch you. I still have scars from all those things. It's
He built for Derksen. I found this out today. This is so exciting. He built for Derksen right there on Westbrook Road.
Yep. Right out of
And then
right out of Mayfield.
you was telling me that your dad was one of the first builders, and I'm like, he's got to know Emery Stutzman, who was one of the first builders there.
Yeah.
I think with John. He's like, absolutely. Like I remember Emery, and we start connecting all the dots of family and friends and all that stuff. How did I not know this guy? I
don't know.
Like,
It's
have we
weird.
not crossed paths somehow?
Anyway, sorry, interrupted you.
Had to come to South Carolina to meet him.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
This happens all the time, though. Haulers end up, two haulers from Pennsylvania live on the same road. They end up in Tennessee at the bash, and they're riding in the same pickup truck. And the one's having a conversation with another guy from another state. And he said, I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm on Stump House Road. And the other one's like, what? I'm on Stump House Road.
Yeah.
And they meet.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this industry is like, so poor shed gal, she's not connected to anybody.
She's like, I'm out here in Phoenix.
I'm the unicorn.
Yeah.
But she's the one who dropped the shed in the middle of the interstate and got connected to everybody. So
Way to make an entrance.
I know.
That's-
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do it good.
just do it good.
That's right.
And she did something not a single other hauler would do or would ever admit to doing. She called the law on herself.
Well, had I known, I wouldn't call now.
She's like, there's a building in the middle of the interstate. It's mine. I'm going to get it.
Hey, it
True
worked.
story.
It gave you a story to tell for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. It's a good one.
Anyway, get back to building sheds.
So I guess, like I said, when I was 16, I got my GED, started building full time. I worked till I was I think I was 22 or 23 when I stopped building for Derksen and went and started building for Secure. And I helped run a shop for them for probably 2 years. And then some things happened and I ended up becoming a sales rep for Secure at the time.
Nice.
Oh.
I was this rep for them for, I'm not sure, maybe a year or two. I can't remember for sure on that. And then it worked out to where we came out here and went and partners with Willow Lake Buildings. And that's how I'm here.
That's how you found the beautiful state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, I only have one state that I put above South Carolina,
Kentucky?
Kentucky. So I wasn't born there, but I feel like that's where I was raised.
Yeah.
That's where I sowed all my wild oats, and they still grow up and come floating down here every once in a while. And I still bleed blue.
Yeah.
I keep every couple of years I say I'm done with UK. I'm not cheering for them anymore. I've wrote them off, and I did pretty good. I went 5 years done, and then this Kentucky kid shows up this year, Shepherd,
Yeah.
and sucks me right back in again. So I get it. Do you notice how similar the upstate is to Kentucky?
Very.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I said when I came out here. It's very similar to Kentucky.
Now you get south of here a little ways, and it changes a lot because you end up into the coastal land and all the You just stay out of there. We'll just stay up here.
So Secure, been on the show. Jeremy Gaither, buddy of ours, friend of the show. Go back with him quite a ways, back to his days in EZ, and really really cool how the connections come together and all that. And then of course Joe.
Yeah, that ties Joe into this.
Ties Joe into this, and Joe being a great guy, great philosopher. Want to get him on the show sometime. I think you ought to.
Yeah, I tried to get him here today, and he come up
that.
with about 100 excuses to not be here today. Joe is like
he took my
That
call.
might have been why he ignored me.
he
there
took
you
your
go.
call.
He
Well,
ignored
I've got
mine.
him booked.
You see what's happening already. What's like me and Sam and Susan, we're like talking to somebody like, hey, want to be on the podcast? No? How about if Sam's on the podcast? How about if Susan's on? It's creating a funny dynamic already. But yeah, love the whole camaraderie there. You've obviously got a lot of family in the industry, so you've kind of grown up in it.
Yes.
Literally. Yeah. That's very cool. So what's your plans now? What are you guys doing? You taking over South Carolina, or what's going on?
Is this where you want to tell?
Yeah, this I'm gonna field this question because I feel like I don't know if I'm to blame yet or if I want the glory for it or the guts for it. I'm not sure. No, it's gonna work. We've all been at this a long time. We actually met with our real estate agent today on a piece of property to do our Mega Mart, Shed Gal Mega Mart, and this is our partner.
Awesome.
I actually had the idea years ago before I sold out to Joe that I'm convinced. So we always had the turn ratio thing. Everybody says you got to turn a shed 4 times a year. Remember that?
Yeah.
And we did 4.5. And it didn't take me long at all to figure out that, hey, if you want to sell a lot of sheds, you got to have a lot of sheds. You put 8 sheds out on the muffler guy's corner, and he's going to turn 32 sheds a year. You just know that's the way it works. And I'm like, wait a minute now, if 8 sheds turns 32, if 50 sheds turns 200, what does 100 turn? 400 sheds. So why would you not have 100? So I never quite got there when I was doing it, but I was getting close to that. And then, Joe ended up taking over. He actually cut back, to do what he wanted to do. And I sold anything. I'm still at heart. I love to sell stuff. We sold play sets. We sold trailers, dump trailers, equipment trailers, goosenecks. And, I always wanted to get back to that. I always wanted to do it really big. And so I had Shed Gal shows up and she thinks of everything big. She's like, I'm going to take carports nationwide. And I'm like, hey, that's my idea. I had that 30 days ago. that I want a white label. Everybody knows, I put it out on Facebook now that my goal is to white label carports.
Yeah.
And make to where Shed Gal sells Shed Gal carports and not some other brand. And she keeps that customer. You don't lose that customer. So her vision for that went along with my vision. I'm like, hey, we need to do this together. You want to do something? Let's do it. Let's do it here in Greenville. Well, my original idea was I want to get multiple brands on the same lot. I still think that works.
Yeah, I agree.
Dallas
I agree. I think
one-upped
it's
me.
the future. Yeah, he did. Thank you,
He comes back
Dallas.
and he says, why don't I just give you 100 sheds?
There you go.
And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Let's, why not do that?
I said, well, I was only going to ask for 80, but if you insist.
I wouldn't take one more than 99. I promise you.
So yeah, we actually found a place we can do this.
Yeah.
So this is going to be live pretty quick. Like you guys are going to have.
Yeah, we're going to get this. We're going to get this up and rolling as quick as we can.
That's awesome.
You've got the steel people on board. They're ready to go. They're excited.
They're ready.
Greenhouse people are ready.
Yeah.
I got one of my old buddies, Kevin Cook. He's going to hook us up on the containers and stuff. Yeah. And I can't quite go public with some of the other people yet. We have some meetings tomorrow yet, maybe even Saturday, but we're pulling all the plugs. Somebody needs to do it and somebody needs to try it. I've been up in the Northeast and I've seen what some of those guys do. Shout out to Greg Blackburn because I love watching what he does. And now I'm not going to start a nursery and I'm not going to sell little pretty flowers. I guess Susan can if she wants to. But the way Greg moves sheds is incredible.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a couple others up
watch.
there that I have followed and I've found through the years that the Northeast is doing it. They're doing it under a wholesale plan, which, as I've said before, is still the ideal way, in my opinion, to move sheds. But we're going to make this work. And Dallas is so excited now. He wants to grow. And it's like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I can't even fathom, with the team of people that we have, what we can do with that.
And we have Shed Geek Marketing behind us that they're helping with our marketing. Yeah. So that's an added bonus. Thank you.
Appreciate the shout outs. Yeah, it's what's been exciting, man. Like what a spirit of cooperation and a heart of willingness to work together can do. And we've heard this for several years. Surely, there's enough for everybody to go around. And I'm not everybody has to have it all.
No, I mean that's what we're doing. She's selling steel, he's selling sheds.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just along for the ride.
Watering the flowers.
Yeah, we're not selling flowers. But I mean that
said I could if I wanted
the
to.
The spirit of cooperation is that's exactly what we're doing. She's handling steel side, he's handling shed side.
Yeah.
And then we have the greenhouses are coming on board.
Oh yeah.
I told Kevin, I said, I want him to handle his container business just like he would anywhere else. Somebody's like, you're going to teach your sales guys all those different systems? Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
not that hard to do.
Well, I just love the idea of like people finding a way to work together with that.
I do too.
That willingness to be like, hey, I don't have to, I don't know. Me and you guys have talked about this off air a lot. I have nothing left to prove to myself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I've listened to so many people say when you find success, what direction do you point? Because at some point, you can take. I feel like you can take one or two positions. Whenever they interviewed Rockefeller, they said you've got everything you want. You got all the money in the world, all the influence, all the employees, all the people, all the status. You got all of that. What do you want now? And he said just a little more.
Oh.
Or you can take the position of I can pour back into people. Like my success can,
absolutely.
Can be like, it can be a testimony for other people to find their way to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, kind of thing, and like you're still constantly learning. Don't get me wrong, you don't quit learning, but I don't know. I think it's cool, and even meeting Dallas here today, I was like instantly like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's likable. You can obviously tell he's going to go a long way. He's got all this knowledge and family and sheds. And kudos to you, man, for like what you guys are doing and how it's worked out here. So congratulations.
So have you picked out a place down here yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
I like
That caught
laugh.
him off guard. Let me make a phone call.
It was almost an uncomfortable laugh. It's like, ah! Yeah. So,
Well, you know you got to live down here. I mean, it's just a place to be. It's.
I don't know. I bleed blue.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
gonna
get
be
it.
hard to
Yeah.
leave the bluegrass state.
Yeah. No, I think you can if you have the right partners in place and you're working with the right people, it's very easy to do. And just like that, I'm thinking about if he can stay in Kentucky and do it in South Carolina, where all can he go?
Oh,
And he's young.
I agree.
Like I
Yeah.
need some young blood and some energy around.
That's right.
So I'm gonna be like, hey, you want to go to Virginia? You want to go to Indiana? Where do you want to go? It's good to, we're a bunch of old people. We're getting there fast.
they are. Aren't they?
Yeah, Mashburn pulled that on us today, and it's like, whoa, we are getting up there a little bit. And
well, I'm a grandpa now.
yeah, you're a grandpa now, and if
Huh?
I've been a
What'd
grandma
you
for
say?
17 years,
Yeah,
people.
Oh,
see,
well.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could easy be.
yeah,
but
exactly.
Somebody help me eat.
So it's while they're clowning around, I'll have a conversation with you.
We're just having our own dialogue.
It's good to see the young blood. I've kind of got off of the habit of doing it. I used to try to every 6 months to a year give a shout out to all the young guys in hauling. When we had the bash in Tennessee in 2019, I was blown away by how many 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old
Wow.
haulers were there that had their own business.
Wow.
They weren't driving company rigs for somebody. They had their own rigs. And
That's
some
amazing.
of those guys, it's like, okay. So I owned my own business when I was 17 years old. And I've always pretty much owned my own business. I get off track every once in a while and go work for somebody, and you'd think I'd learn by now, but I always end up back doing my own thing again, because some people just are the worst employees that you could ever hire. I'm one of those guys. I'm not a good employee. And so to see it come in a generation where a lot of people throw shade on y'all a lot, I love it. Just put your boots on, go to work,
Yeah.
and make something. And to see you guys do that,
Yeah.
I'll put everything behind you. Absolutely.
But turning that around a little bit, you talking about working with young blood. Joe called me and said, "Hey, I got someone I'm wanting you to meet." That's all he told me. I didn't know who I was meeting. I walked in there, no idea what was happening. Walked in, I was like, "That's Sam Byler sitting there." I said, "He's a shed celebrity." That's the first thing I was like, but turning it around, it's exciting to work with you and Susan, and even doing this podcast with Shannon.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can learn a lot from y'all. It's exciting.
Appreciate
One of us
that.
can teach you
Appreciate
what
that.
not to do. The other two over there probably can teach you what to do. But
Which one's he
I've-
talking
Yeah, I
about?
don't know. I don't know.
I have. So I'll throw you a couple bones that I don't think I've ever got into this part of my philosophy on life. But Walt Disney. Anybody know how many times he tried before
8.
he made it? Yeah.
Weird that I know this.
Yeah. 7 times he went bankrupt.
Yeah.
8th time,
I did
pulled it
not
out.
know that.
Had 2 nervous breakdowns
Yeah, in the
before
middle
he
of there.
found
Yeah.
success.
Wow. That is very
Y'all remember the guy that
interesting.
invented that light bulb up there? How many times did he try? Over 1,000.
Wow.
Over 1,000 fails.
And had he given up at
Yeah,
$9.99?
we'd be sitting in here in the dark. Or somebody else would have probably figured it out by now. If nothing else, old Elon Musk probably would have. You fail forward.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is not the issue. It's what you do after you fail. And if I'm the
That's good
living,
stuff.
breathing, live example of that. That's why every time somebody calls me, I need your advice. I'm like, I'll tell you what not to do.
Yeah.
Because I'm a whole lot better at telling you what not to do than I am at telling you what to do. Because the what to do sometimes I'm still working on. You know what that does though? I have no fear. I'll follow you all the way off the end of the cliff because I've landed down there numerous times. Guess what? There's a bottom down there and you can pick yourself back up and come right back to the top again. Steve Harvey said one time, you will never fly if you don't jump.
That's right.
And you'll hit the rocks on the way down. You'll bounce around a while. Why in the world am I off on that show?
You know,
get it.
well, I'm glad
Go
you
for it.
actually brought this up, though, because we have never talked about this, but I am like, you're saying how I lived my life. I mean, too. And it's interesting because it isn't from my team. It's more important that I teach you what not to do than what to do, because you're going to figure out what to do and you're going to want to do it more.
Yes.
And so that is, I'm glad you brought that up.
I heard a
You
pastor
just learned a really
say,
good life lesson right there, I think.
yeah, it's like we're old people trying to mentor you, and he's like, "What's wrong with these old people telling
This
me
is
what
a
to
new
do right
counseling
now?"
podcast.
He's like, I feel like his eyes are glazing over like my son, and he's like, I don't need another lecture, but we're giving you one. Sorry, I heard a pastor say, if you fail, get back up. If you fail, get back up again. If you keep failing, get back up over and over and over. Don't think that all those lessons are nothing. He said, if you fail the 8th, 9th, 10th time, on the 11th time, write a book on 10 ways not to succeed.
And then succeed.
Nothing is wasted in your efforts. Yeah. But I think we're just excited to see, hear your story. And a lot of people are like, I don't know what they're talking about, because they probably didn't see the 30 minutes when we sat outside off air chatting about different things. But hearing your story, watching it play out, and seeing how you're trying to get in further in the industry, but really you grew up in the industry. I mean, you grew up building, your dad grew up building. It's really neat to kind of see all of it come to fruition. It's kind of the American dream, what we was talking about today.
Oh, we did.
You know?
We talked about that today, about how the shed industry is still a way for somebody that's young, or not even necessarily young. I mean, he's starting over again. I'm starting over again. And it's there's a way for you to still to work hard, keep your nose clean, do it the right way, and you can still succeed.
Yeah.
And with a fairly simple product.
Dallas is like, I'm not
day.
coming back on here again to talk to you guys, bunch of old people.
No, I'm loving it. I'm taking it all in.
How many lots do you have?
We have 8.
Okay.
We're working on 9, but the county's giving us a lot of trouble.
Oh, no way. Surely not.
Yeah.
Not
we
the
got
county.
hiring like 3 engineers to make sure we didn't mess up a waterway a few hundred yards away.
Oh, yeah.
By putting in a driveway. I don't know. They're crazy.
Nothing like the old red tape.
Yeah, that sounds
Red
about
tape. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and looking to grow, hoping to grow your dealer network and
Yes.
expand your business.
Yep.
I love that.
This right here, where as soon as I told Sam earlier, as soon as we get this done, I said, "Where are we going next?"
Yeah, he did.
We
So
talked
it
about
was-
that on the car ride back.
Yeah, so it was a little interesting. I guess I use that word so I don't throw them too far under the bus. When I first put this out, I put it out to like 6 different companies. Look, I want to do a mega lot. I sent them a picture of the Ford and the Ram on the same side
Prime
sign.
example.
To where, if you want to sell medium duty trucks, put them all on the same lot. You'll sell more than anybody else. Jackie Jones proved it. Ed Murdoch proved it. And now Lake Kiwi up there. When I lived in Seneca, Leader Ford was separate from Lake Kiwi. And then when Leader Ford, I don't know what happened, but Lake Kiwi ended up with not just the Ram dealership, they have the Ford dealership. And you drive by that place and you just about can't stay on the road because there's so many good looking trucks sitting up there. I don't care if you like Ford, Ram, they're both there.
Yeah.
And what he should do is
brilliant.
put GMC up there and have the whole line. But they sell cars too. I don't even see the cars. Like, I don't even know what they sell in cars. So, I threw this idea together and I ran it by Susan. I'm like, why don't we put multiple brands on the same lot? So I pitched it to Dallas, and I pitched it to 5 other guys local here that are my friends. They're good guys. And I told them all, look, there's no pressure on this. I'm not going to throw any of y'all under the bus if you decide not to do this, because I get it. I understand. It's very different. All of them were very respectable. They all had good questions. They all answered my questions. So I actually met with Dallas. I'd never met him personally, met with him. And yeah, he freaked out a little bit, I think, for a minute. He's like, whoa, I didn't know you was going to be here. Where's the guy I'm supposed to meet? And we chatted for an hour and told him what I was doing. We have a mutual friend that's doing it that kind of helped him see the big picture a little bit. We went to lunch. And I could tell he had an idea of what it was, and it was all good. Took him back and dropped him off. And I got, about an hour down the road, and he called me back. And he's like, this is really good. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is. He says, I just want you to know that if you need 100 sheds, I'll give you 100 sheds. And he was the first one to come back and offer that. And actually, he's the only one that's really followed up on it. I'm not saying the rest of them didn't when I asked them to. And I'm not saying they're bad sales guys or nothing.
No.
They just didn't get excited. And I understand why.
And let's be honest. Who do we as consumers want to do business with? We want to do business with people who get excited. I mean, that's why we're here.
That's a good point. So it just it worked itself out.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it just worked out fine.
That's how it was meant to be.
I get to go back and work with my old buddies again, which I couldn't be happier
which is
to do.
fantastic.
And I get new blood that is going to get tired of seeing me. He's going, oh no, here comes Sam again, But it is. It's like I love the energy. I love the youth. And I'm like, man, if I'd had this opportunity when I was his age. So it is really exciting to see where it'll go, to see what we can do. The one thing everybody agrees on is the shed industry is changing, and this is a direction that it's headed in. Good marketing, big area.
Do you guys think? I'm gonna poke at you a little bit. I'm gonna do what the audience always wants. You know, poke a little bit.
He was looking at you when he said that.
I noticed that.
Okay.
With a mega lot, let's kind of go through this. Do you guys think that it will soak up sales in a region? Is that your hope?
No. Are you asking if we think we're going to like dominate that region and take away from someone else?
Maybe. I'm just curious.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that. I'm reading between the microphones.
Between the microphones. That's interesting.
I think what it's going to do is it's going to increase everybody's sales for those dealers that deserve it. And I don't mean that they're not good human beings, but we talked earlier about, you go to 6 lots and, 2 are there on a Wednesday at 3:00 or whatever day. I think it's going to bring more awareness.
Okay.
We're really good at marketing. Sam is. I am. We're really good about most people. Well, where I come from, most people don't even know what a portable building is.
Yeah.
A little bit different out here, but I know it's not meant to saturate or to take over the market. Our sales will be fantastic. I literally have no doubt about that. It's going to bring more awareness to the product, name recognition for your company. And if in the meantime, the other dealers need to step up to the plate a little bit, maybe do a little bit more for themselves, then that's good too.
Yeah.
We talked about that earlier that, do better and show me, So, what are your thoughts on that though? It isn't to dominate like, well, we're going to knock everybody out of business. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, it is definitely Shannon's favorite saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
100%.
When we all know the saying that, you can't see the trees for the forest. Is that the right way? I always get it backwards.
Yeah,
I think that's the right way. Or you can't see the forest for the trees.
Okay.
I don't know.
We know what you mean.
Well, I'm telling you, I have seen this so many times when I'm working with a group of people in the shed industry. We get so wrapped up in what we're doing in the moment in the shed industry. Like even when we were designing, like I was responsible for designing all our sheds, and I would have to get outside of my own head because I don't like a pink shed. Doesn't mean my customers don't.
Very true.
And the thing that I've become convinced of is we think this shed industry is this big thing, and it is big. And it's kind of like, we're hearing lately again that it's saturated. And yet, if I walk down there into the grocery store and the first 20 people I ask, what's a shed?
Where do I find a shed?
Yeah, where do I find? We've done
Can you
this.
name
We've
me?
done this for years.
Can you name me a shed company
where
around where I can go find a shed?
Where do I find that little thing I put in my backyard that I store all my junk in?
Yeah.
Lowe's,
Home Depot.
Lowe's and Home Depot.
They don't even know the dealers are there. The dealers just don't realize
So
Their customers
Yeah.
don't know they're there.
yeah. So and that is what comes up Lowe's, Home Depot. We all in the industry know what a Tough Shed is, and we know that's a national brand. You walk into the grocery store and you ask somebody, "What's a Tough Shed?" And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
They don't know what a Tough Shed is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably the most branded one. You know, walk in, tell them, "What's Graceland?" Oh, that's where Elvis Presley is.
Oh,
You know, they're never
yeah.
going to tie that to, you know, and I'm not throwing shade on those guys. I'm saying the shed industry in itself has not even reached its full marketing potential. And we have the opportunity to do that.
No, I agree. The consumer, for the most part, like if you say Kleenex, they recognize it. If you say Coca-Cola, they recognize the branding. But yeah, even Tough Shed and Graceland, I guarantee you are doing great jobs in their marketing and all that good stuff. But it's not by lack of something they're doing.
No.
It's a big consumer base to reach. Reaching the B2B world's a little bit different, right? It's fish in a barrel just a little bit, you know. But reaching the consumer, 300, 400 million people, potential to buy a shed, man, trying to get that branded name out there on a national level, very difficult. I'm curious. You said something, and I'm like, is it because as consumers we shop the same, or we run our shed businesses the same way that we shop as a consumer?
That was a big one for me. That's probably why I don't ever need to get back in shed sales again,
Yeah.
B2C, because nobody shops the way I do. You know, I'm still old school. I won't buy a truck without actually going and having somebody look at it or see it first. That's not, people buy stuff online all the time. Well, I do little stuff, but I have a line. If it's over $1,500, somebody's going to go touch it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's changed. You can design a shed online, you can buy it, and it'll get delivered to you, and you've never seen it before. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm not that guy. Susan might be.
I'm not either. I want to touch it, see it, feel it,
Yeah.
meet a person.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't buy things online, but I mean, there's a line on.
It depends, right? Like it gets to
Yeah.
a point where you shop, Dallas, you shop online, any Amazon, you get anything, or you or your wife or
Yeah,
whatever.
but I'm a little bit the same way.
Yeah.
I don't like to spend a lot without seeing it or touching it before I purchase.
So there comes a point, right, where you're like, a book? Sure, we'll go on and get a book. A car? Wait a minute. I maybe want to go see this, touch it, feel it. If I want to make sure it's tangible, I want to make sure it's got 4 tires on it. There's just in your head, there's a line. And I don't know where Sheds fits on that. You know, I don't see
So
them
is it-
moving on Amazon or anything.
Is it
so-
like a car to where I research it online and then I just show up at the lot and I already know what I want to buy?
I think a lot of people do go research it online. I think they at least gain some knowledge and they come in way more prepared whenever they're getting ready to
Than
purchase
what we're used to
than the
seeing.
salesperson actually realizes. They think they're coming in and at times and it's old school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they just
Yeah,
come in and they
I've wondered that.
don't know anything about it, but maybe they've actually researched. They've even price shopped. They've done a couple of things. I think that's why it's super important having video content, even on your website, where people kind of feel like, you know, could you imagine seeing the mean mug of Sam's on there?
Well, now
saying,
we
"Come
actually
on."
got a good looking young
Well,
guy. We
yeah,
can stick
that-
him in the video.
that makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
that's going to help.
But could you imagine if, you know, they know who you are before they get there? They at least feel some connection to you before they get there. And they feel comfortable, at least to some extent, with asking you questions. Hey, I saw your video online or on social media, and I heard about your sale. I wanted to come down here and talk to you about it. So I looked it up a little bit. You guys seem like somebody I might want to buy from, whatever it is. They might not be telling you all that, but what do you think, Dallas, man, from like a mega lot? Like, what excites you about that? What are the things that you're like, you know, Sam said he left, hour went by, and you called him back and said, that's a really great idea. What happened in between that hour for Dallas?
So yeah, it kind of dawned on me when I left. I was like, it sounded great when we first started talking about it. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. You know, let's do this. But an hour after I left, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? This is going to be huge. I called Sam.
love it.
I called Sam. I said, this is big. I said, let's do it. I said, I'll give you whatever you need. And as soon as I hung up with him, I called one of my friends who's been needing some work driving. I said, hey, we're fixing to blow up. I said, can you head out here and start hauling as soon as we get this going? He said, yeah. He said, I'll be there. I said, all right. I called Sam. I said, I've got another driver lined up. We're ready to go.
Donnell's getting to be a little bit like me. I'm going to throw some shade on Donnell Yoder for a second. Donnell's getting to be like me. He's getting a little bit cranky. And Monday through Thursday is going to be one rate. Friday's going to be a little more. And Saturday's going to be. And I get it. Shed hauling will wear you out. I mean, some days you're a mason and you lay more blocks than you haul sheds. You got to be a truck driver and you got to deal with traffic. You got to deal with customers. You got to be customer service friendly.
And then those dealers.
Yeah, and they catch it from everywhere. And
I saw it from both ends.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Donnell. I'm just giving, and he probably won't listen, so I can throw more shade on him. But it is. You got to. He did tell me. I forgot about it. He told me he's got another hauler lined up. I'm like, well, that's good. That's a good idea. At least you're seeing it.
I did call Donnell first and told him, I said, are you going to be able to handle this? Yeah. He said, no.
So and I'm not going to mention the company because that would be completely inappropriate. But we did talk to, as Sam said, several companies, and we actually had a really wonderful call with a very big, popular company, and I guess it comes down to they said they know what we're doing is the wave of the future, but trying to figure that out with their current force. I mean, complete respect for the decision that they had to make. I think that we are visionaries. Well, I know we are, the three of us, as far as seeing what's going to happen in the future. We're not going to be the first. We're certainly not going to be the last. We talked earlier, when we were down in the building. I know what my sales were. They were absolutely fantastic. Before COVID, of course, everybody's were fantastic during COVID, and after COVID, they were amazing. Had I had the inventory, how much more wonderful would it have been? So going back to that, I think we're going to look back at this in 5 years and say, those four sat there. They had agreed to, work together and you supply the buildings, and we're going to sell a lot of them. And people are going to say they saw something that maybe we didn't see. Because the one thing that pet peeve of mine is, well, this is the way it's always been done. And my thought is, I don't care. Because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you have to try things to change things. And I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic partnership. And it's so thank you. Thank you for trusting in us. I think there's a lot of companies that, I think you would have come on with us. This is just me speaking for you, so I apologize. I think you would have come on even if we said, we're going to sell for another company too, knowing that we're still going to sell a lot for you. But
he was in.
Yeah,
he was in before.
And that I will never forget. And you have no idea how much I appreciate that. I think we're going to see companies down the road that say, well, we'll sweeten the pot. But you know what? You were excited about this. It isn't that others weren't interested. They absolutely were.
They were. Yeah.
But you were excited and made that leap. So that's the difference between grabbing an opportunity and watching it pass by. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be great for all of us.
I think you guys are going to kill it. I think you're going to do great. I like the idea of the mega lots. I remember, it's been a while since I've sewed sheds. And I just remember thinking, well, I see this from both sides. I see the manufacturing's point, and we want to kind of like capture a dealer that's focused on our product. But as a independent dealer, this whole conversation about 1099 versus W-2 and independent dealers and consignment dealers versus, retailers who are purchasing wholesale product. How do you mend that? Because there doesn't need to be necessarily a one size fits all for the shed industry. Doesn't mean it's the best thing to have like one way and one way only.
I agree.
To work. It's good probably that you have a mixture. Some folks have a primary business and they kind of sell sheds on the side. But my natural thought pattern there becomes if you sell it on the side, then it means it's a side gig. That means it's not a primary focus for you. So whereas if you got someone who's primarily doing it and then, they only get 12 buildings, you know, man, I'm dumping money into lot rent. I'm dumping money into, and then I've got to pay
Been
for
there,
my own
done that,
advertising.
the whole career.
And we struggle with this from the marketing perspective because, like, if that dealer has to turn around and go out and pay for their lot rent, pay for advertising, pay for a website, pay for, establish a budget for running ads, assuming they see the value in the ads, like, as a dealer, it becomes very complicated really quick to be like, I need more product or different products. The question was asked on Shed Sales Professionals the other day. What other products can I sell?
We were just talking about
Because
this
we
in the
want to be
car
able to
earlier.
make it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys
Yeah.
are doing, you've named 3 of them already, 4 of them already here today that you're doing, but
And there's
how
a
much
whole
bigger
lot
can
more.
it get?
Yeah, there's a whole lot
there's
more.
a whole lot more.
And you don't know what you don't know. And we were talking about there may be something we pick up a product, and 6 months from now we're like, oh, we are never doing that again.
Yeah.
We're gonna try those things. We're not gonna just throw mud. We're being intentional, but we are going to pivot when we need to, I guess would be the right word.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's good. Dallas, it's really been good to meet you, man. I think it's pretty awesome.
Yes,
I want to do
yeah.
something. Where are we at on time?
Oh, you're at 43. Sorry, I got your board.
We want to do something while we've like taken your voice away here today, and we turned into old fogies trying to.
Is this where the Armour Wrestling contest comes in?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, like we're gonna arm wrestle somebody young. Are you kidding me?
I was gonna do it.
Well, go for it. Go for it. We've done something in the past. I don't know. I feel like this would be kind of cool. This is catching you completely off guard. But we ask questions a lot on the microphone, and that's what you're going to see out of Monday, Wednesday, and Friday shows. We go around and interview a lot of these people, try to have conversation that's valuable, educating, and entertaining. But we don't always give the guest an opportunity to speak.
Oh, you're going to do this again?
Yeah. So, like, you don't get a chance to ask us questions a lot of times. It seems like we're just pounding questions at you and seeing what your thoughts are. But what questions do you have, man? Not only are you young, you're motivated, but you've got all this time in the industry. You've got 3 folks here that like to think we know something about sheds, whether we do or not, but we've at least been around it. Mm-hmm. But what questions come to mind for you, man? Like whether it's shed related or podcast related or whatever. I know I didn't prepare you for this, so and just in full transparency, man, what do you have? And we'll rattle off our best answers. What's your thoughts? Whether it's where the shed industry's going or whatever, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's going towards the mega lots.
Yeah, I heard that.
I do think that. I don't know that I seen that until I talked to Sam, but the more I've talked with him, I see that. But honestly, like I said, y'all have talked about before, shed celebrities. I'd love to hear y'all's stories. I don't know. I just told Sam earlier I hadn't heard about the podcast until just recently. I just started listening to them, so there could be a previous one that y'all have actually talked about this. But I'd love to hear how y'all actually got started, because I know y'all think I'm young and ready to go, but I look up to y'all. Y'all know y'all.
You want to get on a plane today?
I was like, how much time do you? He can watch the video of how I got started on the plane ride.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, Susan started by dropping a shed in the middle of the road. That
Well,
was
that's
her.
not how I got in the
No.
business, but that's how I met you.
Yeah, she got into business because she couldn't find a shed to buy. Nobody was there. So she was like, I'm going to go sell sheds because nobody's doing it right. Obviously, she comes from a long background of training. So I grew up in it like you did. I've never been able to get away from it. I've tried multiple different things. But yeah, I've been in it my whole life. I mean, that's always kind of been a fallback between trucking and building houses and everything else I do.
I love that he said, man, I just found it recently. The
That-
podcast.
you know what
because my numbers, and in transparency, we'll just put them on if somebody wants to see them, to be able to watch the numbers slowly creep up. And I think they'll just expand that much more with your network and Susan, your network. But every time you start to think, I don't know, maybe this thing doesn't have a life, you find someone who's established in it who doesn't. We've done over 200 episodes, and it's great because I'm going to go back and watch those numbers go up as Dallas
Starts
drives
picking up.
home or flies home and starts listening to the, you know what I mean? So it's always exciting for me to think, well, people are investing in different medias or knowledge points, and we like to try to be that. But yeah, man, my shed journey, we had Cook portable warehouses. We had Cook sheds around our area growing up there in Southern Illinois. So like even though I live in Metropolis, we grew up in Olmsted, and Cook was it. It was so well known that if somebody said, there's a shed out there, it's a Cook shed, whether you hand built it or not,
it was just called a Cook shed.
It was called a Cook shed. It was like a Kleenex, or a weed eater, So like even when I sold Summit buildings, I remember a guy walking to the lot and saying, "What kind of buildings you got here?" And I was like, "These are Summit portable buildings." He said, "I never heard of a Summit Cook shed." And I'm like, "No." So, they just did a real good job of branding and all that. But man, we had them around, but I never pursued sheds, or I did build homes for a small time, not as long as Sam. Couldn't find a good crew to work for. But I worked in a couple of different things. I worked for the casino for 10 years. I was a hotel manager over there. I attended bar for several years, and I was actually worked at a jail, and I was looking to work in corrections because Deanna's dad had worked in it, and I thought, man, it looks like a good stable career. And then I had a buddy who was a friend of ours who went to work for a shed company. His associate pastor invited us to church and said, "Hey, I think I can get you a job." And I just got hooked. I left for a little while and worked in faith-based drug and alcohol rehab, and then, man, started selling and got a passion for selling. But I learned something about myself in the casino industry, and that was that I love to talk to people. I love that process of selling and building relationships. It was really just helping them, and I think that's what bit me. Mm-hmm. Job offers come after that, you know what I mean? Chance to go work for a rent-owned company, and as I'm traveling around, I'm talking to all these people, and all of them are saying the same thing. Like, what else are you hearing? What are you seeing over there? And you're building all these relationships, and it's like, man, somebody needs to do something. Like, I'm listening to podcasts in my car from one shed dealer to the next, one manufacturer to the next. And I'm like, why wouldn't somebody just get on there and talk about sheds? It's like, would a shed podcast work? And if you ask Sam,
I shot him down.
While they were driving on
we
the
were
77.
driving. Yeah, we were driving up 77 doing rent-own. He's like, somebody needs to get a podcast and talk. I'm like, what's a podcast? Well, when people just sit there and talk. I'm like, who listens to that? So yeah, I did. I shot him down. I'm like, no, that'll never work.
But it worked, and I think people they like resources, they like information, they want to get as much information as they can. We've had companies come on and do demos of their products. It's free to come on. Of course, we ask for advertising at some point. It's a revenue stream that kind of helps go. And these mics, believe it or not, they cost money. You know what I mean? So you got to find a way to make money. But if you can, I feel like if you can create good content and have good information, and I'm sitting here with two of the best content creators in the shed industry, and it's like, why aren't we doing this together? Because we're already creating all this content. You just got to put a microphone to it, and people will say, I don't have nothing to tell, but they do. They have a story. And you have a story starting at 12 years old, getting your GED and going to work for your dad. And you told much of that, off the air, but I think everybody's got that. So it's like, why not do this? Mm-hmm. Why not? I mean, I just looking for a good reason not to, but 3 years strong and the numbers keep rising. Now I'm working with some really cool people, and I don't know. That's why, I guess. That's why we do it. Yeah.
So going back to mine real quick, you summed it up. I was a customer just trying to buy a shed. And, people weren't at their lots, and they didn't return their calls, and nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. There's always going to be some dealers that do business that way, and that's their choice. But I actually went to the manufacturing plant, not knowing that I couldn't order a shed from there, that they actually built them there. But remember, I'm a customer. I just want a shed. And they did sell me a shed. And during that conversation, I had said to them, it really would be great if you had a good dealer down in the county I lived in, because they didn't. And they said, well, we're looking for one. And I literally said, I think you just found her. And that simple little conversation, led to we were going. A couple weeks later, we were up and going.
Yeah.
And sold 10 buildings our first month. We did not have a lot. And we just ran with it. And we decided to, have lots. And then we expanded. We were in Washington and Arizona. And I was telling Sam, I had, a couple of people say, you are crazy. That'll never work. There's dealers with multiple lots, but they're all within a half hour or an hour of each other. And I said, stay tuned and watch this. and I'm saying the same thing now.
I was about to say, some people's probably saying that about the mega lot, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Go make it happen,
fine.
right?
Well,
Go make it happen.
Exactly. It isn't about proving them wrong. We're us, and we're gonna do our deal. So I now look back. I don't know how we sold 10 without a lot. I don't know how my lots in both states were all successful. But when I was doing it, it was just what I did. It wasn't a big deal. And, a year or two from now, I'm going to probably look back to right at this time and go, I don't know how I did it. But right now, we're just doing it. And so it's a shed at the end of the day, but it got me right where I'm supposed to be. And I think I love this industry. I love the people. I went out to the Shed Haulers Bash a couple months ago. It's just great people in this industry. And again, at the end of the day, it's a shed. Mm-hmm. But it's an important industry.
It's just the same as people said, talking about sheds and things like that won't work. I really think, this week, the podcast that we've done, the people we've met, it's clearly more than a shed.
Yes.
It's not just a shed. It's not just
and that's
you're having
exactly what I mean.
conversations that are 8 o'clock in the morning, breakfast conversations that last an hour and a half that are full on passionate conversations before a 2-hour podcast about the same stuff. And it's never just about a shed or the basic construction. Of course, you want to talk about those things, man, but we're talking about life. We're talking about so many different things, business and like all that stuff I think that's where the magic happens, and I think people enjoy that, and I think that's the same reason they tune into podcasts they follow, books they read, music they listen to, television shows, documentaries, you name it. That's all we're trying to do here is like bring a voice to an industry, literally.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Did you actually happen to notice what we're in?
A shed. Same as my office at home.
We're in a shed.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the coolest sheds you've ever been
That's
in.
right. That's right. Exactly.
People come in here and they look around for a little bit and they get a glazed look on their eye. And then they spot one little item and they light up and they go look at that. And then they find another little item.
You mean
what's inside the shed is crazy.
You mean finding your Shreveport Truck Center 1995 award that was given by a guy named Gary Latham, who I have no idea who he is.
Out of all the things in here, you latched on Latham.
Yeah.
I
latched on the UK guitar.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
By the way, you'll be receiving that as a parting gift today.
Oh, really?
Sign.
While it's stuck on your head.
Sorry, I had to take the opportunity.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Got him riled up, didn't I? Dallas, I think you're cool, man. I think you're going to go a long way, and I think you've got the right partners to do that. And excited to watch you guys, and really neat to meet you, man. And we got to grab lunch in Paducah.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys can get to hang out quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You can go to the Waffle Hut too.
We could.
They're open 24 hours a day.
That's true.
Not Waffle House. Waffle Hut.
I don't even know where we're at right now.
There's a story behind that. But
Well, appreciate you being here today. Wish you lots of luck, man. Any questions?
thank
You
you
got
very
anything
much.
you want to leave with the industry? You guys looking to grow? Any of that stuff?
I got my partner right there. We're fixing to take it over.
All right.
That's right.
Well, let's
We're
go,
gonna do
man.
it.
Appreciate
Partners.
you. Yeah, that's right. Appreciate you being on today for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate the invite.
Cool.
thank you, Dallas.
Have a safe flight home.
Yeah.
Or wherever. I don't think you're going home.
No, I'm going to Louisiana.
Yeah, there we go. Have a safe flight.
I appreciate it.
Hey, this is Mo Lunsford in sunny Union Grove, North Carolina, and we want to say thank you to all the guests and listeners.